Right, so I'm here with my mom.
Trixie Fontanilla.
All right, thank you. Thank you for doing this. Tell me a little bit about yourself, please.
Okay, I'm from the Philippines. I'm 50 years old. I migrated here in 1988 at age 11. And when I arrived in the U.S., we lived in Los Angeles. I went to high school in Mayfair High School in Lakewood. And then I went on to college at Cerritos College. Then I went to Mount St. Mary's and eventually got my bachelor's in Loma Linda University. And I got my bachelor's in nursing. I went to work in Loma Linda for a few years and then continued on to UCI Medical Center. I currently live in Las Vegas and I work in the food and beverage industry as a manager at the Las Vegas ballpark.
So, what do you remember most about the moment you decided to leave the Philippines?
When my parents told us that we will be moving in America, we were excited. I was specifically excited and happy, but at the same time more afraid or worried about the stuff that we will be leaving behind. It was an exciting thought that we're going to another country, new environment, that means new friends, and that I was going to be able to use the English language that I've been learning since I was 5 years old. So that seemed exciting to me. But at the same time, I was afraid of leaving my friends, my family, that we're going to be left behind. Since I was young, I was, scared of leaving my toys. And obviously, there were just whatever we would be leaving behind, our culture and stuff that we grew up with and live with every day.
How did people treat you as a new immigrant? Did you ever feel welcomed or did you ever feel judged because of your backgrounds?
When we first moved here, people saw us different. Since we came from the Philippines, we were dressed differently. We spoke another language, and even though we were able to speak English, we spoke with an accent. So people treated us as an outsider. We, at least speaking for myself, I didn't feel as welcomed. People were not sure how to talk to us. Kids made fun of us because we didn't speak English. Obviously, we were dressed differently as well. Just some people who were in the same background was able to help us adjust a little. But living in LA with so many other different ethnicities was just hard to adjust to.
What were the biggest economic challenges you faced when you were getting started in the United States?
My parents, at least, even though they were educated back in the Philippines, they both had higher education. My mother had a bachelor's in accounting, and my father had an engineering degree also. But coming from the Philippines and working in the U.S., the requirements and education was different. So they weren't able to find jobs as fast. We relied a lot on our other family, our other family who were able to welcome us into their home, and we lived with them for a few years, which then we also became more dependent on them financially. I found my parents converting the dollars into the Philippine currency. That made it hard for them to adjust financially. Eventually, my father then worked collecting recyclables that he then delivered to recycling centers. And then my mother eventually found a stable job, but it took her a while.
Okay.
So economically, you can say that we struggled.
Yeah, because the pesos are a lot cheaper, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever feel any pressure, to pretty much fit in with the American culture? And what did fitting in really mean to you back then? Especially since you were young and obviously you were about to be a teenager, all of that kind of stuff.
Being young, being a teenager, fitting in is a very important thing. Coming from the U.S., us having a different culture and just having a different background totally was hard to. It was hard for me to fit in. Teenagers in the U.S. had a different sense of style. At the same time, speaking with an accent was kind of hard to communicate with my friends. I got made fun of a lot for the words that I say. Pretty much coming from another country, it made me be unfamiliar with the teenage norms in America.
Which Filipino traditions or values did you try your hardest to keep alive even after migrating?
Being young and being raised in the Philippines, we valued our religion a lot. I found living here and being among my friends and my peers that they did not they didn't at least have a lot of religious beliefs. There was at a young age, there's a lot of cursing, a lot of disrespect for elders and other people. And that was just not something I was used to. And it was just hard for me to fit in that way, because fitting in meant like doing the same stuff.
Right.
And it's just not something I just was not able to give up, that part of my values.
How did your experiences compare to what you expected life in America would be like before you arrived?
I expected living in America to be different. Different meaning, in the Philippines, if you say you're moving to the U.S., it's the idea of now living a better life was the main thing. Better life means luxury and just less struggles. Life is tough in the Philippines, and to make ends meet is tough. But when we arrived here, my family faced financial challenges, and it took my parents a few years to overcome that. Like I said before, even though they were educated in the Philippines, the requirements for a better living and better job in America is different than the Philippines. So we relied a lot on our family for years, which didn't make it easy for us to live. At the same time, life in America is, I guess, as a young child, we played a lot outdoors. We weren't good in staying indoors. So, a lot of we learned. I saw a lot of my friends being indoors watching TV, where my norm in the Philippines was being outside and playing, being surrounded by friends and playing.
What kinds of jobs What kind of jobs did you first work in, and how did those jobs